Hi, Stamper fans. Welcome to another Make It Monday. Thank you for joining me, whether you're watching live on Facebook or you're catching the replay on either Facebook or YouTube. I'm so glad you're joining us. I am Nan Gerlitz, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Bloomington, Illinois, and I am here to help you connect with your people, whether that's gathering together to craft or you making handmade items to share with them. It's all about making and deepening those connections. So let's get to it. All righty. So first up, let me talk about Friday Night Stampin', which is a friendly little competition that my husband and I have together. So this week, these were our entries, and without talking to each other, we kind of went with the same color schemes. So we've been married 36 years. We're pretty much one person now. So but this was his card, this was my card, and my card won again this week. So that's a twofer. He told me over the weekend, he said he's got to bring his A game on Friday because that's 2 weeks in a row I beat him. So this is the card that we will be making tonight as well. And thank you all for all your votes. And if you missed voting for Friday Night Stampin' this past weekend, what were you doing? Living or something? So, but you can definitely check either my Facebook page or my Instagram. Both of them are just search for Stamper Nan. I'm Stamper Nan pretty much everywhere on the internet, and you will be able to vote for Friday Night Stamping all weekend. We do it up until like 9 o'clock Central Time Sunday night, and really there's no hard cutoff. So, and I announce the winner on Monday morning all the time. So, and I always tell you guys here on Monday night. All right. So tonight we are making this cool Christmas card in very non-traditional colors. I had remembered I made a pink Christmas card last year, and I thought, oh, I wanted to do that again. And I love pink and gray together, so that's where the inspiration came from, right out of my head. So, and I wanted to show you because it kind of starts with this Winterly Treetops bundle. We are not using the stamp set tonight, but it is part of a bundle, so I wanted to show you. And obviously, this bundle looks very Christmassy. We're very wintry, very holiday-ish, but that is not all you can do with it. And I will show you a couple of more samples after we're done tonight, so make sure to stick around till the end. To show you what else you can do with this fabulous frame die that we're using tonight. One of my favorite things. There's always I don't know if you find the same thing where you purchase a set of dies and there's one that's kind of your go-to all the time, and that's this darn frame die. I love it. So we will be using that tonight, and I used that on the other samples I'm going to show you as well, so you can see kind of what else you can do with it and hopefully be inspired. Let's see. Okay, so tonight we are mostly using the Frosted Forest bundle. We're not using the dies, but we are using the masks or stencils, whichever term you want to use, that go with it. And we're stamping this lovely tree here. All righty. Okay, so let's get to going, right? As always, the link to the full supply list is in the video description, so you can click on that to see absolutely everything I've used to make this particular card. And I share measurements to all the card stuff exclusively with my email subscribers. So if you're not on that list, check the video description for that link as well and get on my email newsletter list. Those come out once a week, and I share, of course, all the news that's Stampin' Up! Related, but I also share tutorials and tips. I share all the measurements for my Monday Night Live cards, including if I share extra samples, I share measurements for those as well and supply lists for those as well. So you get a lot of information, plus a lot of other fun things. So, hello, buddy. Yes. Oh, it does kind of remind me of the splatter painting. Yeah, that's a cool, little 70s vibe. Ooh, I'll have to see if I can do some tie-dye kind of effects with this. Yeah, I have to get some groovy colors going, right? All righty. Let's see. So let's get to it and let's start die cutting first. So I wanted to do kind of a two-tone, you know, two-layer dye. So we have basic gray and smoky slate, both of those here. Get our platform up here. Now, I will say I found out one thing. My plate is pretty bowed and pretty. It's time to, you know, switch it out. But I had it so it was kind of top heavy like this. You know, it was concave, and I switched it over to be convex, so it dipped in instead, and it cut better that way. So if you're between plates and you don't have replacements just yet, make sure that if it's, you know, you're flipping your bottom plate over each time, because that will definitely help cut better. So I've cut that basic gray layer, basically the same as my dye. And I'm going to put it on a bit of an angle so it doesn't go, so the entire thing isn't, you know, parallel to the die cut machine. And that just helps it go through a little bit easier. There's less resistance if it starts kind of with a point or whatever. The other thing I found is that because all those little ends of those pieces are very tiny, I actually put this through like 3 times just to make sure everything cut really well. And then I had no issues whatsoever. You absolutely can use your adhesive sheets with this die. I am just going to use liquid glue tonight, so I'll show you. It's pretty easy. And this is a cool little item too. Oh, that could be cool in tie-dye. Who knows? I've got several of them on my desk just waiting for me to create something. But this also pops off pretty darn easily. And there might be just a couple, like a little spot right here that needs to be punched out. But yeah, when you run it through like 3 times, it cuts so well that everything just kind of falls out. So we've got one there, and then we want to do the lighter gray. There it is. I'm like, I already lost my top plate. Like, where is that thing? And this one I cut a little wider, and I'll explain why when we're putting everything together. So I just want to center that up pretty much. They are the same height. They're just a little different width. So we'll pop that through once and then back through again. And 3rd time. That's another lovely thing about these die cut machines is, you know, you can use they'll go forward or backward. So if you're a lefty, they work just as easily for you. You can turn them whichever way you need, right? Always helpful. So I normally just pop out this middle piece. And we did, Stampin' Up! Had a cool event back in June for demonstrators, and we actually used this and did blending brushes around to leave so we used it as a mask, basically as a stencil, and that way the leaves were brushed onto the paper. It was really cool effect. So, which is why I keep saving them, which is kind of silly because, you know, I'm probably going to cut 20 more of these before Christmas is over. All right. Now, you see all these little guys? Yeah, well, it's hard to see because you got some darker ones there. They kind of get left in the die. If you want, you can kind of drop that on your counter or whatever, and a lot of them just pop out. Don't drop it hard. Don't drop it from a great height. But that's kind of what I do to get those out of there. It's just easier. And there you go. Okay, so that one's all done. Now what I want to do, I am going to, I'm not going to attach anything yet. I'm going to take this lighter gray one, the smoky slate. I'm just going to lay that over this white so I know where to stamp my tree. Where did I put my tree? There it is. Oh, you guys, seriously. We crafters, we lose things right in front of us. I know. I know I'm not the only one. There it is. Now, I'm fine if it actually kind of goes over some of those leaves because, you know, it's fine. Now I need to very gently take this off. So you can kind of line it up with your grid lines if you want, just give an idea of where you are. It does not have to be perfect. Ah, that's a good question, Betty. Betty wants to know, when we come down here on Fridays to stamp, do we know what the other one's going to do? We don't keep it a secret. Sometimes I have an idea in mind. Sometimes he has an idea in mind. Although I'm down here more often, so usually, you know, I'm putting together my newsletter or I'm doing other stamping. So I'll be like, "Ooh, I should do that Friday night." So a lot more times I have an idea. But I will say one thing is I kind of defer to Russ, when we come down. Like if we get something new, I see if he wants to use it before I do. Because like I said, he only comes down here once a week. So I want to make sure I'm not using something that he wanted to. Although we have done challenges where we have to use the same stamp set or bundle or something. And then we just kind of see, you know, what we come up with. So, but more often than not lately, neither of us really has an idea what we're doing when we come down. And we just kind of start grabbing things or looking through stamp sets or designer paper or something to see what kind of grabs our attention. So, okay, so we have these masks. These are for our evergreen trees, and they are labeled A, B, and C, so you know like which order to use them in or whatever. And I am going to, you know what, I need to grab my Post-it tape so I can hold these down so they don't shift on me. And I just wanted to add some pink to this tree. I didn't want to get really crazy. I need to. All right, if you have anything that's too sticky that's gonna like rip your paper, if you just put it on your clothes for a time or two, it'll take a lot of the sticky off. It'll leave enough for you. So I've got my blending brushes here, and I've got my bubble bath, the ink color, not the actual bubble bath. And I am going to add this. I'm going to start from the bottom. This is a little hint that I got from another demonstrator that she kind of thought that the sun, if the sun were out, it would kind of make the top branches a little lighter than the bottom ones, right? So if you start from the bottom, you're adding more ink down there, then it'll give it a little bit of a kind of an ombre look. So that is our bubble bath color. And so we've got that. Really, it looks kind of like pink zebra print from like the 80s. That's what it reminded me of. So we've got that one going on, right? And I should have actually, I think I will do this. I'm going to line that up again and take a little Sharpie. There are these little divots in our masks, right? So I'm going to draw right on my glass mat. Now when I take this one off, be very careful not to move my cardstock, but I can line that little V up with the next one, and that is where this next one should be. And you'll notice that it's actually a little under the tree because it's going to give a little bit of a shadow. So you can adjust that if you want. And there's actually another one that gives even more detail, but I'm only doing 2 tonight because that's kind of the look I was going for. I just wanted another color to it, but I didn't want to go crazy. So this is our Petunia Pop, which is a deeper pink or a magenta maybe. I'm going to do a single swipe of that one, I think. And again, I love Stampin' Up! Because of all the color coordination. So you've got some depth to it now. I love that. But the color coordination is great because I've used the Bubble Bath cardstock down here and then the Petunia Pop for the sentiment. So everything is very matchy-matchy, which I love. And I don't have to think about it too hard. The other thing, for those of you that have not used these masks yet, they're, you know, like an acetate or a plastic, and our inks are all water-based. So all I'm going to do when I'm done here, I'm going to take these upstairs to the sink and I'm just literally just going to rinse them in cold water. I don't even have to rub them or scrub them or anything. It'll just rinse right off. And then I'll just let them dry and put them away. So super easy to use. Okay. So there we've got all of our, just trying to follow my notes to make sure I've got this right. Okay, so next I want to assemble my, oh, that's the Sharpie. I'm trying to clean off my glass mat there. Thought there was a piece of cardstock on it. So I'm going to use the liquid glue tonight, like I said, and I'm really just going to do the outline frame of this. And very sparingly, just kind of dotting it along. You do not need a lot of this glue. This is a really good glue. It's not super glue, but it's got a good bond to it. And you don't want it, you know, leaking out under the edges, right? So we're going to center this. And there will be a little white on either side. And there we go. And then we'll take the lighter gray. I had a piece of the dark gray on there. And same thing, just a little bit on the edges. The sides are a little thicker, which is nice. So like I said, you could use the adhesive sheets and put that on before you die cut. And then it's basically just a really big sticker. I didn't think I really needed to do that with this because it was easy enough to do the liquid glue. So this one is actually the same width as the white cardstock. And the reason I made them a little bit different is because I wanted to ensure, you know how when you cut, like everything's going to be just a skosh off. We're humans, we're not machines, so everything's not going to be exactly the same. And I figured if I cut the, yeah, I did that right. If I cut the dark and the light the same width, then I might get that peak of dark outside of the light gray lines. The other thing I wanted to point out is that I did put this one on upside down from the darker one, so that all of the little, you know, pine fronds or whatever you call them are kind of at different angles. So you're getting that shadow kind of effect, which I loved. Okay, let's get our bubble bath. And I have a piece of white for the inside. Let's go ahead and stamp a little pink tree on the inside. I like our really light colors for this, especially because if you put a little pink tree in the corner, oh, I still had some black on there. Well, that's a cool look. See, happy accident. If I have a little pink tree over here, I can still write right over that and it'll be light enough that it's not a big deal. All right. All right, you know what? I'm going to flip that over and do it again. Because if I write over that, I'm going to have black lines in it. I just did not do a good enough job cleaning it is all. There are lots of little nooks and crannies in this stamp. That's better. Nice, pretty pink. Okay, we'll pop that on the inside. Get that out of the way, right? I will say I never used to use the liquid glue unless I absolutely needed it for something. And I am becoming more and more of a convert to it. I think I mentioned that last week. It dries relatively quickly, or at least it dries enough so that you can, keep working. And it offers you some wiggle room if you need it, which is nice. And if you had, like, if I had more dimension and stuff on this one, it would be hard to do my tape runner, my seal on it, but it's really easy to just do the liquid glue. And you don't need a lot. Also, if you've never noticed, there's another end to this one too. So if you needed to spread glue over a larger area, there is a hole here, and then you can use that surface to actually spread the glue as well. I tend to just use the little, the skinny tip. All right, centering that up. Now we need our greeting. And the greeting is, unfortunately, from a third stamp set. Because I didn't like any of the greetings that came in the other two. I just wanted a simple happy holidays for this. So I grabbed my Christmas Friends, which I think I told you that happy holidays is going to be getting a lot of use this season. And here we are. Where is my block? Okay. So this is a cling stamps, which means we can't see through it. So I go ahead and line my block up with my grid lines, and then I just line the bottom of the words up as well as I can with one of those grid lines. That looks slightly crooked. There we go. Because you never know if you got the sticker on exactly where those words are. So the sticker is nice to make sure that you have it right side up and that you have the right stamp that you wanted, but it's not good to actually line things up by the sticker. So we will grab some Memento black ink, and now I can line that cardstock up with one of the lines, and I will line my block up with one of the lines. And voila! Wow, that worked really well. Seriously, you guys, sometimes I surprise myself. There was another stamp I was using over the weekend for a different card I was working on. And I actually made the strip exactly the width of the rubber, the red rubber. So it was really easy to line up that way. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a little tip that I've learned over the years. If you notice, I have a little flagged end on my greeting. And anytime I've tried to just go from the corners in, it's always lopsided, right? So here's a little tip. Find basically the middle and make a little snip up. And then you're going to go from the corner to that little snip. You can just flip it over and go from the corner to that little snip. And there you go, a straight flagged end. Works every time. I love it. And you can make it as deep of a flag or as shallow of a flag as you want. You don't have to worry about having a punch or anything else. It's all just right there. I know I brought dimensionals over. There they are. Like I knew I brought them. So this one's just going to get a couple of dimensionals. I'm going to line it up with the edge of that gray. And then we have one more thing to add. That is our shimmer gems. So these are the in color ones, and we have the Petunia Pop. So I thought it would look really pretty as kind of a star on the top of that tree to just have one of these gems in a coordinating color. There we go. Voila! It's a little deeper color on mine tonight, which I like, quite frankly. What do y'all think? So now I did promise you other designs. I absolutely have them. No worries. Gotta find my mouse here. Okay, so we've got this one, and they're all using this same frame die. So I've got another one that is a little more springtimey, perhaps, with our sketched butterflies, and this is with our Full of Life paper. So I literally just cut a piece of the designer paper out for the background, and I stamped the butterfly on another piece of the paper so it was pre-colored. So super, super simple. Die cut that out and a little happy birthday down here, and boom, we are all done with that. That one was really, really easy. The next one is my favorite of all of them. It's super springy with our daffodil and lemon lime twist and granny apple green under there. So the same concept as this with the double frame, you know, in the opposite ways. And then that beautiful flower, which is actually in our mini catalog right now. I believe the set is called Love and Strength. So it's really pretty. Got an little I'm here for you. And this one is a little special too, because I have popped these leafy frames up on foam strips. So we have dimensional strips instead of just dimensionals. So it's super easy to put those right along that framed edge and pop everything up and give it a lot of dimension. So it looks like a little shadow box. Thanks, Betty. Yeah, I absolutely loved that. Just beautiful how it turned out. So yeah, so those are my 3 for this evening. Again, if you have not signed up for my email newsletter yet, definitely get on that list. You will get measurements for all 3 of these, plus full supply lists in this week's email. Let me switch the view so I can talk to you for just a few minutes here. I did want to let you know, I think I've mentioned this before, but the first Saturday in October is World Card Making Day. It is not a day that was made up by Stampin' Up, but we take full advantage of it. It really is a World Card Making Day. I believe it was started by a paper crafting magazine many years ago. So that day this year is October 5th is World Card Making Day, and Stampin' Up is doing a 1-hour event. It's free, it's virtual, so anybody that can sign up for it. You don't have to craft along if you want. If you want to just watch, you can just watch. If you want to craft along, there is a list of things that they're going to be using, or you can kind of make up your own stuff while you're watching. So all that information is on the website at stampinup.com. You want to just go there and they'll have a banner that says World Card Making Day. You can click on it and register. It is a free event, like I said, but you do have to register in order to get the link to get to it. So definitely get that. It is so worth it. They did a virtual event last year as well, and it was so fun to just, you know, kind of, there's usually a chat feature in there, so you can have your comments going just like you do on any other social media. It's a lot of fun. And maybe you'll see something a little different than what I do, right? So always fun there. I will be watching, and I'm planning on doing a little something special that day too. So stay tuned for more info on that. All right, that's all I have for you tonight. Thanks so much for joining me. This is your reminder that if you got some tips or found some inspiration tonight, I'd love it if you'd share the video so that your friends and family can be inspired too. Till next week, I'm still Nan Gerlitz. Happy stamping.